The Bermuda Triangle is a modern name for a very old and perhaps very sinister mystery. We know for a fact that occurrences were already at work in the year 1492 in this now infamous part of the Atlantic Ocean. These Admiralty records we know that Columbus wrote. Undoubtedly, he and his crews encountered some weird and frightening phenomena in the skies and the seas of the strange new world they were approaching. Columbus didn't record what the already nervous sailors thought. Maybe they believed they had truly sailed into the Devil's Sea, as they had been warned about back home. But we do know that Columbus had no explanation for the strange encounters. And equally, we know these same eerie phenomena are still with us today, in the pre-dawn of the 21st century. For hundreds of years, ships, planes, and men have vanished in this part of the Atlantic Ocean. Since 1945 alone, there have been dozens of vanishings, from huge naval vessels to private boats, from commercial airliners to small planes, not to mention the staggering number of people aboard these crafts. They have simply disappeared within this wedge of ocean without leaving a single trace. But are these disappearances the result of some sinister and unknowable force? Or are they simply tragic but quite understandable catastrophes?
In virtually every case in the Bermuda Triangle, there has been a storm. What has really vanished in the Bermuda Triangle have been these accounts of the storms that people neglect to mention in order to have a mystery.
This is the entry point to the Bermuda Triangle. Although it has wonderful weather the vast majority of the time, this area is susceptible to sudden squall lines that are completely unpredictable. It can get very dangerous very quickly.
There can be no doubt that weather plays an important part in both sea and air losses in the Bermuda Triangle. But can it be blamed for the large number of mysterious disappearances? Well, as we shall see, there are many other odd occurrences on record that have nothing at all to do with weather. Charles Berlitz, the noted author and linguist, wrote about one of the earliest incidents in his excellent book.
From the log of His Majesty's ship, Narwhal, for a fortnight we have been becalmed in the midst of
mysterious Sargasso Sea, and the patience of men and officers alike are sorely tried. We seem to be caught in the grasp of some strange force that will not let us go. Though we have not had a whisper of a breeze for days, oddly, there is the strange sound of wind about us.
The approaching ship was recognized as the Westbury Star out of Liverpool. There was no appearance of life on board. The frigate captain tried signaling and calling, but there was no answer. The log continues with this contradictory comment.
Though there was not a living soul on deck, the sails were neatly trimmed, and the Westbury Star was tacking to a brisk wind as she passed by. But, upon my honor, there was not the slightest breeze to ripple our own rigging.
Is it possible that the wind would permit the ghost ship to tack by with bellied sails, while 100 yards away there was not the slightest breeze? It is, of course, happenings like these that give the Bermuda Triangle its eerie reputation.
The American schooner Ellen Austin was bound for Spanish and Portuguese ports in the early fall of 1881, when the ship's crew was surprised by the sudden appearance of another ship off the port beam. They called the captain, and when he joined them, they hailed the vessel and scanned the decks. Getting no answer, they put over a boarding party. They found the rigging intact and the ship seaworthy. Everything seemed normal, except there was not a living soul aboard.
Hey! It's a treasure ship!
I shall show a fine profit.
A salvage or prize crew was left aboard while the others made their way back to the Ellen Austin. But before they could set sail, a violent squall bore down on them without warning. The fury of the storm blew itself out in less than half an hour. The prize derelict, along with the salvage crew, was gone. It had completely disappeared. Both the officers and men of the Ellen Austin would later testify that it was as if it had vanished into thin air.
The disappearance of huge ships, private and commercial aircraft, people and pleasure boats in recent times alone is staggering. Perhaps we might find a clue in the strange story Charles Berlitz tells us, exactly as it was related to him by Captain Don Henry.
We were coming back from Puerto Rico on the good news, with a tow of 2,500 ton on 1,000 feet of 4-inch hawser. Beautiful weather. You wouldn't want for a nicer day anywhere. I was enjoying some downtime in my cabin when the electric started acting up. We checked the whole system. Generators, breakers, shunts, just fine. Nothing wrong below. But topside, there weren't anything right. There was a funny-looking fog, I guess you'd call it, kind of oozing all over the barge. I figured I'd better take another good look inside. And that's just about when that blow smacked into us. 25 years at sea, I never saw the likes of that squall. It come out of nowhere. All our instruments were going crazy. Compass, radio, radar, engine monitors, absolutely berserk. First, we was just worried about losing the tow. Then we started getting worried about our own skins. We were redlined at 850. Big twin 2,000 horse EMV diesels churning up green water, and we couldn't make a foot of headway. Something had a hold of us and wouldn't let go. Then just like that, the squall was over. We set the automatic pilot to go check damage, and we haven't lost no rigging or deck gear. But then what I saw gave me goosebumps all over. A half-ton of hawser stiff-stretched after the fantail, and not a thing connected to the bitter end. When we got her hauled in, you could see there wasn't no eye splice, and the line wasn't raggedy like it had parted. No, sir. Looked like it had been whacked off with a fire axe. Next time I looked up, the weird foggy stuff was disappeared. But after the barge, the sea was still churning, and just in that one spot. The sun was out just like before, and there was a bone-aching chill in the air. Yet the rails and fittings were hot enough to give you a smart burn. We had a narrow escape from whatever took hold of us out there. Righteous believer out of me.
There was another interesting result of Captain Don Henry's encounter with the Bermuda Triangle. When he got back to port, he had to throw away every battery on the tug. They were all dead, completely drained. Oh, there are many similar seagoing stories. However, some of the most remarkable mysteries are about aircraft, large and small, military, commercial, and private. Let's start with one that has a happy ending. Commercial pilot Chuck Wakely's story, as related to us by Charles Berlitz.
There is definitely something you can't explain that occurs in this area, and it is definitely electromagnetic in nature. A few years back, Chuck Wakely was piloting for Sunline Aviation in Miami.
I just dropped a charter in Nassau and was on my way back. It was a beautiful night, moon rising, stars everywhere. Then, just over Andros Island, something peculiar began to happen. The wings of my aircraft began to glow with a strange light. I thought at first it was some kind of effect from the instrument lights, but then the whole aircraft began to glow, inside and out. My instruments started malfunctioning so bad I thought they were going to bust apart. By then, the aircraft was glowing so intensely I couldn't see the horizon at all, or even the moon and the stars. I wasn't panicked, but I certainly wasn't all that laid back either. Then, bingo, the glow was gone and everything was right normal again. These things have happened to a lot of us professional pilots, though for obvious reasons they aren't things we like to talk about. But there's darn few of us who don't believe that there is something out there.